Well, howdy folks. We just wanted to shoot a quick video and show you around some of the changes that we've made lately. And it's been a while, we've been kind of busy, and especially the power system. It's been, boy, probably years since we've shown you around the power system. We made some pretty substantial changes last winter, and so we just wanted to show you what it looks like upgraded and explain why we went the route we did with some of the pieces of equipment and just some of the new things that we've got going on. And so come along and we'll just take you on a quick spin around the homestead and see what's changed since last time. Welcome into our power room. It looks a lot different than it used to. If you've seen any of the earlier videos, we didn't like to show the earlier videos because it was pretty bad. And we've had to pretty much rebuild everything that came with the existing power system in this house. So it's been a work in progress. We didn't have the money to do it up front, so we would just make it work as long as we could, and we would only fix something when it was broken, because we've been putting all of our energies into paying this place off. And so that was just a prioritizing decision that we made. We didn't want to make any upgrades that we didn't have to until the place is paid off. And so we've just been one piece at a time. As something breaks or becomes unusable, we would replace it. And so finally we got to the point where we had to just finish up the whole system last fall. Anyhow, what we've got going on here now is, this is the battery box, obviously, and inside is our battery bank. You may have seen this before on I believe we did a blog post and a YouTube video on moving this in. This is a couple of forklift batteries from GB Industrial Battery. Forklift batteries, in my opinion, are I believe they're still the best way to go for most people. They're the best bang for your buck, for sure. There's other battery technologies out there like lithium that do have some advantages. They also have some disadvantages, but they're fabulously more expensive than something like this. And so this is rated at 1172 amp hours, if memory serves me right, 24 volts. Each of these is a 12 volt battery bank. So I have them wired in series where it's 24 volts. And you hear this noise over here. This is the vent fan, because when the batteries are charging, they're lead acid batteries. When they're charging, they release a little bit of hydrogen gas, and hydrogen gas is lighter than air. If it's highly concentrated, it can be flammable, so you want to vent it out. And so we have this lid sloping up to a high point as hydrogen rises, and the vent fan vents it out whenever the batteries are charging. And then over here we have a Magnum system. I like Magnum. It's simple to use, easy to use, and it's American made. I like that. And there's other good options out there as well. Outback and Schneider make some good equipment as well, but my preference is the Magnum. And so this is the inverter, and this is the DC disconnect. This is the charge controller. The inverter takes the power from the batteries, the DC power that is pretty much unusable in most American homes these days. And the inverter, up here, takes that DC power from the batteries, and it converts that DC power into regular household AC electricity, what you're used to using in your home. Plugging in the blender, the hairdryer, the computer, the phone charger, whatever it may be. This is what makes that happen. It takes that relatively unusable power and turns it into something that's usable with the appliances that you have. This is this DC disconnect is kind of the hub of all the wiring. It's where everything taps into something else. And it is a really nice fit with the Magnum inverter. This is called the Magnum Mini Panel, and it just fits so nicely together as one package. The charge controller over here, it's just nice. I like sticking with the same brand for the entire system most of the time. So if you're going to go Outback, I like sticking with Outback for everything, or Schneider, and same with Magnum. This is the charge controller, Magnum, the PT100 charge controller. It is one of the, if not the most powerful charge controller on the residential market these days. 100 amps, and so it's able to handle our entire 2800 watt solar array at 24 volts, handles it just fine. The inverter is a 4024, so it's 4000 watts at 24 volts, and it can surge up to, what is it, 6,000 or 7,000 watts, I think, for short periods of time. This is a transformer that takes 240 volts from our generator and converts it into 120 volts so that we can charge up our batteries in the winter time if we need to, because up here in the Northwest it can get very dark and very cloudy, and we have very short days for a few months in the winter, and so solar can be a challenge up here, and so a backup generator is a really good idea, even if you have a large solar array. When it's snowing outside and the panels are covered up, you're not going to be doing any charging, so a backup generator is a really good idea. And so this enables us to get the full rated capacity of our generator by running it out of the generator at 240 volts, stepping it down to 120 volts for our system. Our system is 120 volts only, and that's just because we have no 240 volt appliances. We don't need to run anything like that. So if you don't need to run anything at 240, then I like a 120 only system. It has some advantages. But if you have a 240 volt well pump or something like that, there's inverters just like this that Magnum makes that are 240 volts. Outback and Schneider also have options for 240 volts, so that's totally doable. This was just because we didn't need 240. These little things here are surge protecting devices, SPDs made by Midnight Solar, and I think they're the best surge protective devices, and that will help if you have a nearby lightning strike. It helps to protect your equipment from surges going, electrical current going into the air. We have a long wire running out to the solar array that can act as an antenna. So I have both ends of that wire protected with a surge protective device, one here and one out at the solar array. This protects the charge controller and the system here. The one out at the solar array protects the solar array from damage. This one here protects the inverter because all the wiring in your house can act as an antenna, and if there's a nearby lightning strike, and this helps to protect your inverter from the electricity of a nearby lightning strike back feeding into your inverter and frying it. So some really good options there. This little device here is called a desulfator, made by Battery Life Saver, and it helps to extend the life of your battery by knocking sulfation off of the lead plates. Sulfation, you can kind of think of that as like corrosion on the lead plates of your battery, and it will interfere with electrical connections in your battery and can reduce the capacity and the lifespan of your battery. So this knocks that sulfation off electronically and helps your battery to last longer and to have more capacity. So anyhow, that's just a quick run around our power system in here. Let's run out to the solar array, and then I also want to show you around the house just a few updates that we've made, appliances and things like that that we've done since the last time we showed you around our house. So let's head on out. So this is our solar array, and we are really proud of this thing. It was a big job putting it up. I won't lie to you about that. It was a good bit of work, but it is so worth it to do it and do it right. We debated about whether to build a wooden false wall and put some less expensive solar hangers on it that would mount on the false wall. And you know, it would have been a little cheaper, but we eventually decided to go this route, and I'll show you why. One thing is the ability to adjust the pitch of the solar panels. This mount is actually made by a company called MT Solar, and we really are impressed with this thing. But what I was mentioning with the adjustment, this is how easy it is to adjust the vertical pitch of the solar array. So that was one thing that sold us on this. Another thing was that we needed to get our solar array up a good ways. And I don't think that the camera does justice to how far up this thing is, but it is way up there. I mean, this post is a 18-foot post. 6 feet of it is in the ground, and then you've got another 12 feet above ground, and that's just the halfway point on the solar array up there. That goes to the middle. And so we wanted to get it way up because we get a lot of snow here, and we wanted to keep this thing above the snow that builds up, because it will slide off of the solar panels and build up a big berm underneath it. But also we wanted to get it up higher so that it could catch more sun in the winter, because the sun is really low in the horizon, in the southern horizon during the winter. We wanted to get it up as high as we could. And with this MT Solar mount, they make it where you can put everything together down here at ground level. So we actually put the whole array together, the frame, and all of the solar panels and all of the wiring went on except for one panel in the middle, that one up there. Everything but that was done here at ground level without risking our life up there, you know, on a ladder doing all that wiring, which, you know, we could do. That's not a major problem, but it was just so much easier doing it down here at ground level. And then they have a special system where you can hoist the array up using a chain hoist up to the top, lock it in, put that last panel on, and you're done. And it was a very, very slick setup. I really liked it. But this is a 6-inch post. That's Schedule 80. Schedule 80 is extra heavy duty, and Schedule 40 is I think the typical pipe that you're going to find like this. But because we went up so high, that makes a lot of leverage, and because this is a large array, we had to step up to Schedule 80 pipe. And so it was not cheap. This pipe itself, with the cost of steel and everything, it was, but I think it was like $900 or so, something like that for the steel post, as I recall. And that was delivered, but that was a hefty investment. But anyhow, it was, I think in the end it was worth it, and I'm really happy with this system. Over here you can see the combiner box on this side, and that is where all of the different solar panels run into there and combine together into 3 breakers, 3 strings, and then that combines all of the strings, the 3 strings together into one cable that runs into the house, into the power room. It's been a really nice system. We've just got power coming out our ears, which is a nice feeling to have, because with the old system that we were living on previously, it was not that way. And we milked that system for all we could, and it just had no more life left in it. And so it's been nice to step up to this and to do it right. It's nice to set things up where it's quality and done right. But I should probably show you around a few improvements that or a few things that we've changed in the house as far as appliances. You know, a lot of folks, they wonder, can you live normally off the grid? And a lot of people have this idea that it's, you know, like living Amish style or something like that. And so, you know, we've done a video previously that showed you around our house, but I'll show you some of the latest things we've changed. So this, you may remember that we've been using a old chest freezer as our refrigerator. We converted it into a refrigerator, and it is quite efficient that way. But it is, I must say that an upright refrigerator is more convenient. And now with our newly expanded power system, we are planning on getting a upright refrigerator and freezer in the near future. And so we'll keep you posted on that, and maybe we can put out a video showing you how we chose what we did. But I'll just give you a quick tip. What I generally do when we're looking for appliances is I'll go to a website like Home Depot or Lowe's or some website that has a lot of appliances and use their sort features narrow it down to as small a number as I can that have the features I want, and then I'll just go through each one and look at the yellow energy tag, you know, the yellow energy tag that comes on new appliances. I'll look at that and see what the annual power usage is, and that enables me to compare all the different available models that are actually available right then. EnergyStar.gov can be a great resource, but my experience has been that there's so many, the companies are releasing new models, just seems like constantly. And so often when I would find one on EnergyStar.gov, I would go and look for it and it had already been discontinued. So that's why I like just going to a website that's selling models right then and comparing them. And then like with a refrigerator, if it says that it is that it uses 350 kilowatt hours a year, because that's for a refrigerator or a freezer, it'll be giving you the annual power usage, how many kilowatt hours per year. Just take that number and divide it by 365, and that'll give you a rough guess of how much power it might use in a day. So if it was a 350 kilowatt hour refrigerator per year, then that would give you an idea that it probably uses somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 kilowatt hour per day. You know, somewhere thereabouts. There's some argument as to whether their testing procedures are realistic or not, but at least it gets you in the ballpark. So that's an upcoming upgrade. This is an upgrade that we did, I don't know, a year or two ago maybe. A new washing machine. The old one died. It was a front loader. It was efficient, but Lisa doesn't like front loaders, and I imagine many of you can understand why. A lot of front-loading washing machines have trouble getting the clothes clean. You can also deal with mold issues around the opening, the rubber seals where the door closes onto them. And so we decided that we wanted to try and find a top loader that would be energy efficient. So I searched and searched and searched and found this one, and there's actually a number of options. It's not like this was the only one, but this particular, a lot of these really new top-loading washing machines, this one is made by LG, they are incredibly efficient. When I figured it out, I determined that if you're comparing apples with apples, this uses less power than our front loader did, and you're getting the quality of wash that you would with a top loader. And one thing that I will mention is if you look on the inside, you'll notice that there isn't an agitator. Now, I don't remember all the technical jargon for this, but this kind of a system is a different system than an agitator. Agitator is that vertical prong that sticks up, and that's kind of the old-fashioned type. With this, the middle disc here in the bottom spins around and shoots jets of water up, and it goes back and forth, and that's how it agitates. These are the kind that are very energy efficient. The ones with the agitators, from what I understand, aren't as efficient. And so we've been really happy with this. It does use more power per load than our front loader did, but this thing washes, what do you think, sweetheart? 2 or 3 times as much clothes?
I figured it was about 2 to 2.5.
Yeah, this probably washes 2 to 2.5 times as much clothes per load as that front loader. It's enormous how much clothes you can get in here. So when you, all other things considered, when you compare apples with apples, it's less power and you're getting a better wash. So we really, really like this thing. It's been a great little washer. This, you may or may not have seen this tank. We put in a really large pressure tank, and I also changed out the water pump in our cistern. What had been there when we moved here was a cheap half-horse jet pump, and just a conventional jet pump from Home Depot. And I was really worried about that thing going out, and every time it turns on, there was a huge surge of electricity to turn it on. And so finally, I dropped in a submersible pump that is a soft start pump made by Grundfos. And it's the Grundfos SQ pump, not the SQ Flex, but the SQ pump. And it's a conventional submersible electric pump, but it's just a soft start. It takes 2 or 3 seconds for it to start up, and so it doesn't take that big burst of electricity to get started. And it's been really, really nice. We like that pump, and I recommend it. And we've got years of experience with pumps like that in our family. The on-demand tankless water heater, it has been starting to give us a little trouble. It is years old, and honestly, I guess when we moved here, I didn't read the instruction manual on it. Didn't realize that there is annual maintenance that you're supposed to do. So I'm sure I haven't helped matters. But it's been giving us some trouble. I've had to monkey around with it and do some things to it to get it to work. It's still working, but we are looking at changing that out before too long. And I think we're going to stick with the on-demand water heater. We do like that. You never run out of hot water, and it uses less propane, I believe. Which model exactly, we'll see. We'll try and keep you updated about that, but I'm kind of leaning towards the Rheem on-demand water heaters. There's one remaining thing that I haven't figured out about them yet, and that's how much power usage the ignition system takes on them. I've seen conflicting reports on that. But as long as I can satisfy myself, I may have to call Rheem about that and talk to a technician. But as long as I can satisfy myself that that's not going to be problematic, I think we'll probably go with the Rheem. It's about a 8 or 9 gallon per minute water heater. It looks to be a really nice setup, and we'll just replace that, pull this one out and pop that new one in there, and have that taken care of. We're also looking at putting in a clothes dryer sometime after we save our coins up for that. That's another project. We just haven't had room in the house so far, but we're going to make room. You know, we've got kids and they plow through the clothes, especially in the summertime, and it's amazing how quickly they can get a pair of clothes filthy. And so we just plow through clothes, and it's a kind of a pain air drying. We've done that for years and it works, but yeah, we'll, I think, be putting in a propane clothes dryer pretty soon here. We certainly have enough power for that. So that's some of the developments around here. Maybe we'll show you the office real quick and wrap this up. So here's the office, and one upgrade that we've made in here is a standing desk, because I spend a lot of time at the desk these days with my work, and that has really made a difference for me, having the option to stand or sit. But it's electric, you know, fully electric, goes up and down, and just fine off the grid. Got a nice big computer there, along with the plants. And this little thing here, this was quite an interesting find. This is nothing new or high tech, but we found it with an old desk. And this has been a really nice little gadget for us because it has an electrical plug in the back that corresponds with each of these switches, and we can turn on or off any of these that we want without having to plug and unplug them. So because your computer, for instance, it will be using power whenever it is plugged into the wall. Even if it's turned off, it's still using a little power. And all sorts of devices like that. It's called phantom power. And if you've got a whole bunch of devices in your house that you leave plugged in even when they're off, that can add up to a substantial amount of power. And so right now, since I'm not using my computer, I have that switch turned off. I can turn it on and boot the computer up if I want to. When I'm not using it, I just turn it off. Boom, there we go. This is our internet right here. And that turns on our internet system where we get internet from a nearby mountain. And it also turns on our router for the house. And then this is, I think, for the plug over there on the desk, and for the desk itself that goes up and down. Got a light here that can go on and off. You know, it's a regular office. A shredder, paper shredder there. And over here is Lisa's desk, and she's got her sewing machine here. And, you know, electric sewing machine. This is not a treadle sewing machine. And she's actually working on a project sewing up hydrotherapy fomentation pads like this that are really amazing for helping folks with respiratory issues. And these were used with fantastic results back during the Spanish flu of 1918. And so nobody is sewing these anymore. And so Lisa's been working with a friend of ours, and they've been working on getting the design hammered out and everything to continue the sewing of these. And we'll tell you about that as more progress is made on that. But the point is, sewing machine, electric. You know, it's works just perfectly fine off the grid. Radio, you know, wireless radios. The charger here, charge them up. This is an office. Anything you want to do. This is a DVD printer here. You can't see the front of it. It's over here, but this is high-tech stuff. Hard drives, tons of hard drives for our computers. The printer, scanner, you know, all sorts of things. So this is our office, and just some of the recent upgrades. I don't think a whole lot has changed in the kitchen since you saw that last, but you know, same stuff. Vitamix blender, juicer, popcorn popper, all that good stuff. A propane oven and range, you know, the list goes on. You can see we live quite normally, and we enjoy this life. We enjoy no power bill, and I want to tell you about how you can do this. And I'm actually doing a class coming up, and there's a sign up link under this video where if you haven't signed up for it already, you can sign up for it, and it's coming up in the near future. And I'm going to show you in that class how you can start going off the grid right now. Whatever your situation might be, there's steps that you can make right now to start this process where you'll be in a better position to go off the grid. And you know, you can start working on these things that we're going to talk to you about. And it's really important, I think, that you start ahead of time. Even if this isn't something that you're ready to do right now, don't wait until you are ready. Start working on it now. Whatever your situation might be, wherever you live. And I'm going to show you how to do that in this class. So just click on the link that's down below this video, and it's a free class, and I'll show you how to do it. So hope to see you there, and we'll talk to you later.